We are live. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning, Jennifer. How are you today?
I'm great. There's a bit of a lag for me, but I'm just going to press on and just wait till I hear your responses before I go on. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm here with Barbara Stark. She is the president and CEO of Milagro Center. And I'm so happy. It's nice to see you again. It's been many, many years. We were saying it was, I think the last time I remember was 2015 when I did a messaging session with the Milagro Center and some other work. Um, and so it's been a while. And since then, you have moved into the lead role at the organization. I know you also are a longtime professor at Broward College, teaching communications courses. So, again, I really appreciate your time today. And I'm just going to jump in. Leaders Talk Communications is a platform where I talk to leaders about how you, as a leader, are managing communications at your company, at your nonprofit, so that other leaders can learn from you, so that they can take away some insights, maybe feel validated that they're doing the right thing. And so we'll just jump into it. So, first, if you would tell us about your work, and I want to know what inspires you most about what you do.
Great. Well, thank you again for having me. I've been president and CEO of Milagro Center now for 13 years, and we've seen a lot of change, not just within our own organization, but within the general large nonprofit sector itself. Um, a lot of
Mm,
things have changed for the positive. I'm happy to say that there's a lot more collaboration among nonprofits, a lot more sharing
ah,
of information and techniques and strategies and ways to work together because one nonprofit cannot do everything itself. So collaboration is
right.
very important. Um, we've seen a lot of growth in our own organization. We have 3 centers now located in Delray Beach, and we serve children from kindergarten all the way through their senior year of high school. We are an after school and summer camp program, also known as
Mhm.
OST, out of school time program.
Mhm.
And the children who come to us are underserved, meaning that their family income is at or below the federal poverty line. So they are at risk of academic failure. And in our programs, we enforce academics, reading and math, as well as cultural arts, a lot of music and art and dance. So the two together really seem to click for these kids
Mhm.
to gain confidence, self esteem, to tackle the schoolwork, and to do better in school.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I remember when we were working together, we were focused a lot on arts. And actually, as we went through the messaging session, there were some, I remember this very specifically, that there was some realization that that you weren't doing as much art with students in your after school programs. And it sounds like you have focused on that and connected it to the work that you're doing with the academic support with the kids. So I think that's wonderful. What inspires you about the work that you do at Milagro Center?
I see such promise in these kids. And I see these children that come from households that are really struggling. They're struggling to just pay the rent, to keep a roof over their heads. And
Yeah.
they deserve, everything that any other child of moderate to high income deserves. So that's what motivates us. Originally,
Yeah.
we were looking to level the playing ground, if you will, between
Mhm,
a child who's
mhm.
at risk and underserved and others. And now I can say, with all that we offer, all of the opportunities through collaborations and through our own work that we offer these children, we really feel like our children now have the advantage because they're being
Yeah,
exposed to everything.
I love that. You talked about the collaboration and how that's changed over the years. What do you think was the impetus for that change among nonprofits, to collaborate more? What do you think, inspired that?
I think it was a shift where more and more nonprofit leaders began to see that their nonprofits are small businesses for the most part. So they're a small
Yeah.
business and they are a nonprofit, and they're not unlike a small business. They don't have a widget or a product to sell. And every year
Right.
they can't release a new and improved version, a 2.0, a 3.0. So they
Right.
began to see that in order to continue to grow and prosper, they needed the resources of other nonprofits to assist. And so
Yeah.
seeking mutually beneficial relationships is, I call it matchmaking. I love
Yeah.
to matchmake with other nonprofits. You know, what
Yeah.
the conversation should always be, do you need? What are you looking for? What is it that you dream to give to your recipients at your nonprofit that you're not able to do? And then
I
I
love
can
that.
if I can provide that, great. And then this is what I need. And I'll give you a great example. Many years ago, 12 years ago, I spoke up at a local nonprofit networking group. And the question was, what's your challenge today? What's your challenge? And we had just moved into a facility where there was a swimming pool. And most of our kids are of Haitian descent, and swimming is not part of their culture. So they don't know how to swim. Their parents don't swim. Yet in Florida, as you know, drowning is the number one cause of death among children under the age of like 8. So I was desperate to
Yeah.
teach our kids to swim. So I was looking into hiring lifeguards, swim instructors, but it was out of our budget, completely out of our budget. So this was on my mind, and I spoke up at this nonprofit networking event, and I mentioned that. And a woman from the YMCA of South Palm Beach County
Hmm.
stood up and said, we have an outreach grant and we can't find anyone to go to. Everyone comes to our pools, but we need, so a match was made, and that match is now
Yeah.
12 years old. So it's
That's
all about
wonderful.
communicating your needs. You have to speak up.
Yeah.
You can't hold everything close to the vest and everything's perfect, everything's great. You have to talk about your challenges, because right next to you could be someone who could help you with that, and vice
Right. And when you think about it, you're addressing huge societal issues. And if we're going to address them properly, there has to be that collaboration. No one organization is an island. And I love that you talk about the fact that nonprofits are businesses. I say that all the time when I'm training, like you have to think about yourself as a business because it is
it
a
is.
business.
Yeah.
Especially in the way that you think about strategic planning, the way you think about communications, which I'm passionate about, and obviously is my area of
Mhm.
expertise, especially in communications, like thinking about yourself as a business and addressing your stakeholders strategically in that way is really important. But I love that more of that collaboration is happening. I work a lot with nonprofits, as you know, and
Mhm.
that collaboration piece is so important. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you for sharing that. Tell me
Sure.
about the different stakeholders that you communicate with and where you feel you thrive, Barbara, in communicating with your staff, with your partners, with funders and donors, other people, with the families that you're serving.
Mhm.
Where do you feel you thrive in communicating with
Excuse
those
me.
people who are important to the success of your work?
Let's start with our staff. We have 21 people on staff right now, plus 40 or 50 at least volunteers, but staff. I firmly believe that your staff, any nonprofit staff, is the heart and soul of the organization. The staff
Yeah,
is what makes your organization successful or not. And so, therefore, your staff has to take priority. So, in terms of leadership, I recognize that everyone on our staff has to have a voice.
yeah.
And we are open to that. We do so many things to give our staff opportunities to have input and ideas.
Give me an example. Give us an example of what that looks like giving your staff a voice.
We do twice monthly full staff meetings, in person and or Zoom for those. We do have some people who work remotely out of state. And
Mhm.
they share their ideas. They share the challenges within their departments. They open up to others there to ask, any ideas of how I can meet this or do this or whatever. And it empowers the staff, because someone, let's say from programming, may have an idea for someone in the grants department. And they're like, oh,
Ah,
wow. So
yeah,
by giving everyone the opportunity to get out of their little silos and talk to everyone throughout the organization, it's very empowering. We
yeah,
recognize our staff in many ways. This is super important. We have, because we're a nonprofit, obviously, we can't match the high salaries that maybe some large corporations in our area offer. But work-life balance is important. And for many people,
yeah.
work-life balance, when you're juggling a family, let's say, or you're in the sandwich generation where you're taking care of your older parents and you have
Mm,
kids, there's a lot going
yeah.
on. So we recognize that. We're very flexible. We don't start our workday till 10 a.m. And what that
Mm,
means is that our people have the morning to take care of all the things that they normally would have to take time off from work for, or take a day or whatever. So
yeah,
that's a good example. We also recently
yeah.
started something called My Mental Health Day. And My Mental
Mm,
Health Day is a day that we encourage every staff member to take off 1 day per month. It's not a vacation day, not a PTO day. It's My Mental Health Day. They get paid for it, but it's a day a month, and there are rules. In order to get paid for that day, they have to totally disconnect. They cannot be in a meeting. They can't be emailing. They can't be responding to a calendar invite. I don't care if you lay on
yeah.
the couch all day, you disconnect. And then every employee who has taken one mental health day per month for the year, their name gets put in a hat. And at the end of the year, we draw out one person, one staff, and they're rewarded with $1,000. So,
What? Oh my
mhm,
gosh. Barbara,
because
when you talk about, I am always talking about the importance of living out values in tangible ways. You've just demonstrated three. I hope people who are listening take note. Allowing employees to share their great ideas with one another at team meetings, allowing employees to start work at 10 a.m. That works with the way that you work with your business. You're a nonprofit as well, so especially if you're working with children and after school. Um, and allowing for the mental health day, and then rewarding people for taking that mental health day. I just think that's fabulous. Wow, I think what I don't know what Milagro Center's values are, but I would imagine that, love and support for our employees is in some way
number
connected
one.
in that. Yeah, yeah. No, that's very important. Thank you
Because
for sharing that.
yeah,
I'm gonna ask. Go
mhm.
ahead, go ahead, finish your thought.
I was going to say, because our staff, like I said earlier, we couldn't be successful at Warren for our staff who are so passionate and give so much of themselves and don't take time
Yeah,
off. They don't take
right,
time off, and we don't
right,
want them to
right.
burn out.
We don't want them to burn out and they're doing hard work and yeah, for all of those reasons. I love that. You were going to talk about other folks.
Mhm.
So it sounds like I want to know about you and where you thrive. And what I'm getting from what you're saying, Barbara, is that you recognize as a leader that your employees' voices need to be heard. And that is definitely an area of success, I would say, for you. Is there any component or characteristic of Barbara that you think allows you to thrive in the way that you communicate with everyone
Yeah,
across stakeholders?
I think the word that comes to mind is authenticity. I'm authentic.
Mm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
What you see is what you get. You know,
yeah.
in my many-year career of working across different industries and with different leaders, sometimes you would sit back and wait. All right, what type of mood is he in today, or
Ah,
how is she today? And then you kind of gauge how. I'm authentic. I am who I am. I come to work. I'm happy. I'm passionate. We care about each other, and I think my stakeholders, my donors, our volunteers, our staff, our board of directors, our families, they see authenticity with me and all of our staff. We're not
yeah,
there because it's simply a job and we're waiting.
yeah,
Oh, 10 more minutes, I can get out of here, or I'm living for the weekend. We're committed, we're passionate. And I think our children really see that too. Children are very
Mm,
perceptive. They can tell when
yeah.
a person is real. We're real. And
Yes, they can.
authentic and I'm passionate. I've always loved children, always loved children. I believe that what we're doing, I know, is making a difference. We're moving the needle academically in our local public schools. Our kids are succeeding. Our
Yeah.
students who are graduating or going on to college, the military, they're in
Oh,
trades, they're reversing that cycle of poverty. It's just such gratifying work.
yeah.
And we feel it. And I think authenticity is the key. You have to love what
Yeah.
you do. You can't, if you think of what you do as just a job and it's so separate from your life, I don't know if that has longevity.
Well, especially in the kind of work that you're doing, when you're working with children, you're supporting families, like there has to be some passion behind it. And as I'm hearing you speak, I'm like thinking about this ripple effect of impact, starting with starting with you and being passionate about your work, being authentic, how that moves into your staff and the way that you connect with your staff, donors, partners, board members. And ultimately, what's really, really important is the impact to the families, the children, the families that you're serving, and the ripple effect of them going on and having successful lives. I just think that's so beautiful. So
Thank you.
thank you. I Let me ask you now, switching gears a bit.
Mhm.
You are a communications person as well, and I know that that supports you in the work that you do as CEO. Tell me about a challenge that you face, because I know we all face them. Communications challenge that you faced as CEO, and or beyond, and how you handled it.
Wow. All right. Let's think about this. The challenge I think we face in our communications is we communicate with words, with
No, I
emails,
I, I
and
want to know
social.
specifically about you as a leader.
Oh,
This is
me. Okay.
leaders talk communications. So I want to know about you and a challenge that you faced as a leader and how you handled it.
Um, Personally, I'm a very direct person. I say what I feel, and I guess in some instances, I've been told that maybe I'm too direct. So, what,
Yeah.
what, so over the years, I've learned to temper that. So, my
Yeah.
communications challenge is I'm on a little bit of a delay switch because
Ah,
at home, what I think I say, and that's how it is. But at work and with my board members, let's say, and with prospective donors, yes, I'm on a little delay because I'm thinking what I should say, and then I put it through that little delay filter, and I tend to temper it. I
I
am
love
very
that delay
passionate.
filter.
Yeah, and I,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if you've ever done the disc profile where
yes.
you know where I fall on that disc profile. Yes.
When you said authentic, I was like, I sense that from that from that too. So
And I
directness and the filter, and I would maybe the little delay filter might work at home. I should try that with my
Yeah,
family too.
it's take self-control, but I've
Yeah,
learned,
yeah.
and then I rephrase, or I think about the actual wording and the tone of what I'm saying, and I temper it because I've been told that, yeah, maybe I'm not as tactful as I always could be.
And
It's
the
a work
fact that
in
you're
progress.
Yeah, we're all works in progress, and the fact that you're thinking through that demonstrates empathy, it demonstrates, care and concern, so I think that's great. So let me ask you now, what has worked most successfully for you as CEO? Is it the authenticity? Is it the directness? What's worked most successfully for you as CEO in the way you communicate with stakeholders in your efforts to communicate? What's been like every time I do this, um, maybe it's your delay filter. Every time I do this, there's a great outcome in the way I communicate as a leader.
Yeah. I think that leaders of nonprofits sort of have to separate, in a way, their personal feelings from the feelings of the organization or the approach to
Mm,
the organization. Real quick,
interesting.
yeah, it's not easy to ask for money. It's not.
Yeah.
And a big part of my job is simply asking for money to support our programs. And that's a
Yeah.
hard thing to do if you put yourself into it. I'm not asking
Mhm.
for money for me. When you
Right.
think in the greater sense of the organization and the people and the families and the children, and like you said, that ripple effect for years to come, I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine asking for money for that. So
Yeah.
you have to get in that mode and take your own personal, oh, what are they going to think of me if I'm asking them? It's not me. It's not me. It's my
Yeah.
organization. So storytelling, telling donors or people in the community who you want to volunteer stories about your organization, uplifting little vignettes of things that students have done or said, and then
Yeah.
the ask at the end. I think that's what's worked for me. I love talking about our kids, our
Mhm.
where they are and what they've done and what they want to do, and even just little funny stories. Sense of humor, Jennifer, is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
important. Even if you're talking,
Storytelling.
yes, yes, even if it's a
Storytelling
serious
is
issue. Hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, storytelling is so powerful. Yeah, so if you could wave a magic wand, what would you want the world to know most deeply about the work that you're doing at Milagro Center?
I
Or
wish
about
that
you?
Well, I think for me, I think most people who have encountered me know that I'm passionate and I'm committed to what we're doing and always moving forward and always looking for new ways to bolster our programs and give our students and our teens more opportunities to experience and to make choices. Um,
Yeah.
for our organization, I think I always say that if everyone I talk to could physically come to Milagro Center
Mm,
and experience it, see it, feel it,
yeah,
hear it, that speaks so much more than just trying to explain in words what we do. I think it's
yeah.
important whenever possible to invite people to come and see your
Mhm.
nonprofit and see your programs, and then they're immersed in it, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so if I could wave my magic wand, if there was a way to encapsulate, you know, that feeling and hearing and seeing of what's happening within your program and give it to people who are not physically there, that's what I would love to
yeah,
be able to do. And we try
yeah.
through videos and we try through little, photos and but it's not the same until you come and you just feel it.
And actually experience it. I have that same experience every time I visit a nonprofit and see the work in action.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, like watching, I'll never forget the time I went to visit a nonprofit. It was Flippany, and when I saw the kid like actually like learning how to julienne and cut vegetables, like
Mhm.
seeing the impact of that work, and there's a literacy component to it as well. It's so powerful to actually see the work in action and to see the dedication and the devotion of the staff who are doing the work. Thank you so much for your time today, Barbara. I will tell you that your passion is palpable, like, I feel it through the screen.
Thank you.
Your authenticity is palpable. I'm feeling that through the screen. Thank you so much for your time today, and I really appreciate you being here, and have an
Of
awesome weekend.
course, it was my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Thank you.